Hello, my name is Christopher Leffoltz, and this is the development key review for May 31st. This is the pre-video overview. So just a few discussion topics just to kind of bring people along. A couple of them are carryovers from the last key review, and then I've added a third one just to update on some new PIs that we have. So security and reliability has been a focus for a while for us now, and we're successfully keeping that down below 5 for the number of infradev issues that are past due, as well as we've gotten below 20 overdue security issues. So I moved these both to green, which is okay, and we're going to continue to focus on driving these even further down to 0 in both cases. Though we'll see how that works out as far as timing of that and when that occurs. We also ran our first sub-department key review where we've moved the goals of this to each sub-department, and also performed a sub-department key review where we actually had each direct go through their section or sections to describe kind of what's going on metric-wise in their group, as well as potentially any updates on OKRs associated with that. Also, all engineering allocations for security and reliability have been closed at this point. So we're back to largely normal process at this point. MR rate continues to be an area of focus. Our PTO has definitely continued to trend up since 2020. We are still seeing a trend up in that regard, and previously and earlier in the year where there was definitely the focus on infradev and security issues. That should be hopefully going lower, though we do have a fair amount of maintenance still being focused, a fair amount of maintenance going on as well. New team member growth continues to increase. We're at 8.2% growth for the organization since the beginning of the fiscal year. So that's definitely had an impact as well. And then we're seeing contributions outside of development increase as well as the war also affecting things. Actions that we're taking associated with that, one is that we're trying each sub-department getting OKR goal to increase by 1 MR rate during the quarter, as well as we have a maintainership working group kicking off, because we noticed that our maintainership has slightly declined since the beginning of the quarter, but also we haven't really converted our trainees like we should during the past 6 months. So we're focused on those activities, as well as what other activities we can do to make it easier for maintainers, to make it more efficient for the code review piece of it. And then we have a couple items on backlog at this point, which we'll get to as time permits. Last one is I added 2 additional KPIs to the development page. One is open UX debt issues. This is similar to like the overdue infradev issues and security issues. So this is looking at things that we potentially want to burn down to an acceptable rate. It's going to be a little bit more subjective than bugs, I think, just based on the fact of what needs to be done in each of these cases. So we'll have to kind of work through that. The other one is escape rate over time, where we're actually measuring the number of production bugs in a month versus the number of MRs merged. This is a new metric, so we're kind of monitoring it and seeing how it looks historically, as well as how it's done historically, as well as how it will do in the future. What you can see here is a clear trend down in our escape rate, where we've definitely improved in quality associated with it. This is different than what you might see in other companies. Other companies talk about in terms of staging versus what they find in production. I definitely want to focus on what our rate is from a development perspective, particularly how many things we're changing in our environment associated with it. And we'll continue to focus on it. No updates from cross-functional projects, mainly because that's handled by the DRIs associated with that. Development is actively involved in now 7 of them, so a fair number of those associated with it. In OKRs, we're basically at the 1/3 turn for the quarter. So most things are either on track or needing attention at this point. In particular, we're seeing decomposition remain on track, and then we're focusing on both our cloud licensing efforts, as well as our FIPS compliance. In the case of FIPS, we know that there's a number of key areas where we need to kind of make sure that we get focus so that we can make sure that's properly prioritized. That may involve a borrow associated with hitting those to basically hit the 100% compliance. And then in cloud licensing, it's a matter of, again, additional monitoring and focus associated with that, and the fact that we haven't necessarily gotten our demos started just yet. In the area of improving the product, shipping cross-functional prioritization methodology is on track, as is the SUS work associated with improving our SUS, both our component migration as well as fixing SUS related issues that are S1 or S2. Where we need attention is reduced access. We took us about a month to figure out what we wanted to do associated with that. And we're still further refining the scope there, which means that we'll probably do that over the next month and then have about a month left for development to basically implement something to help with the reduction of access. This is a two-tier effort. So infrastructure has a separate effort related to easier or faster access, which means that we could more limit access and more give it on a per need basis as opposed to right now how it's set up. The other one that we're focused on is the maintainers, as I mentioned earlier. That's one of the areas that we think might help with MR8, and we definitely want to see our maintainership improve this quarter. And then a great team, both efforts are on track. Hiring definitely has been on track, though it's been a little bit slow the past couple of weeks. And then the mid-year check-in actually starts basically next month based on the calendar. So by definition, it's kind of on track. As I kind of described before, those are the kind of action items for the current OKRs associated with it. And last but not least are the key metrics. As I mentioned before, past infra dev and past security issues are now okay. And we have development age, average age of open positions, which really the focus there will be the continued focus on hiring to see if we can get back on track to our fiscal plan associated with it. That's it for the updates associated with the development pre-video. Please enter your questions into the agenda or ask them as we get into the discussion. Thank you.